Today we're going to learn how to use an ice slab to keep your cooler cool, and also how to keep yourself cool using ice. So what I've done here is I've taken a container and I've frozen some ice in the freezer, and you can see now I have this ice slab. And the general idea is that I'm going to use this ice slab in my cooler, so it fits in the bottom of the cooler and it fits approximately into the bottom of the cooler. And it's nice because I can make the ice myself in my freezer. It just takes a day or two to freeze, and then this saves money and time. And it works even better than ice cubes, because when ice is a big slab like this, it lasts for much longer and you get more ice in your cooler. And your cooler stays cool for a longer time. So now I just put the ice slab inside of the cooler, and you can see it kind of fits in there, and now I can put my food on top of it. And it's very inexpensive to do this. It's just, you just pour water into a container and put the container in the fridge and you get an ice slab. It's very simple. This seems to work even better than ice cubes. You can take it out too, and that's what it looks like. See, as ice melts, it gets clear, so that the outside of it is at first a little bit hazy, and then it becomes clear, so you can just fit the slab in there and it'll thaw, and it'll keep your food nice and cool. You just need some sort of a container. Go to the store and find some container that is about the same shape as the bottom of your cooler. You can use this technique on bigger coolers as well. And in this case, I'm using a plastic container. You can also use a metal container. That works well too. Then if you can pour some water over the outside, and then the ice will come out easily. You pour some water over the outside of the container and the ice will come out easily. Now I'm filling up the container with water and I'm going to put it in the freezer. And in a day or two I'll have an ice slab. It's that simple, and it's very inexpensive. This technique works really well. And it'll keep your food nice and cool. You can do this when you're camping or when you're working or whenever. It takes, because the ice is thicker, it takes quite a long time for it to melt, because there's actually a lot of ice there. There's a lot of volume of ice. So it should keep your cooler cool for a nice long time. That's an ice slab. You can also use an ice slab to stay cool yourself. I'll show you that in a second. What I have here is an ice slab, and I'm going to use it to stay cool. In this case, I'm going to wrap it in a t-shirt, a cotton t-shirt. That's what the slab looks like. You can put it into a cooler just to store it. Then you can move it around to, say, if you're working somewhere else, you can take the cooler with you. This is like really low-tech air conditioning, you'll see. So here's the t-shirt, and the basic strategy is going to be, I'm going to take the ice slab and I'm going to wrap the t-shirt around the ice slab. And the reason I'm doing this is because now the ice slab is a lot easier to handle. This is a pure cotton t-shirt, and cotton absorbs water really well, and then as the ice cube melts, or the ice slab melts, the t-shirt is going to get wet, and then it's going to be cold and wet, and then I'm just going to touch my wrist to that, and I'm going to touch the ice cube to anywhere on my body where I'm hot, but I'm just going to leave it there for a couple of seconds, and I'm going to move it to the next place. So a couple seconds on your wrist, a couple seconds on your arm, a couple seconds on your chest, a couple seconds maybe on your head or on your face. And you do this so that you don't get frostbite. So You can also make bigger blocks using these containers. You can use a square container, you can use a metal bowl. Metal is nice because if you run hot water over it, the ice will come out really quickly. So you can make different sizes and different shapes of ice. And the bigger the ice, the longer it will last. It takes a long time for a big piece of ice to melt, but it takes a shorter time for a small piece of ice to melt. But a bigger piece of ice is heavier. So you can sort of decide on the shape and size of ice cube that you want, and then you can just wrap it in a t-shirt, and as the ice cube melts, the t-shirt will get wet, and that wet, cold t-shirt covered block of ice will cool you. You want to touch it to your wrists, maybe to your neck and to your face, because that's where there's lots of blood vessels near the surface of your body there, or wherever else you want. And remember not to leave the ice on your body for too long so you don't get too cold. So just keep moving it all over your body. That's what I do. It seems to work well. And you can also use a freezer pack to do this. And a freezer pack, of course, doesn't get wet, so in a way it's not as good as an ice slab or an ice block. So you can see that by now the ice is melted a little bit and the t-shirt is wet, so the cotton is wet, and when I touch this to myself, it's like it has a really nice cooling effect. And this system is totally portable, and it's really, really cheap. You can just use your freezer to do it. So you can put the covered ice slab in or the t-shirt covered ice slab into a little cooler, and then say if you're driving around or working on different locations, you can take this with you. Maybe you're a landscaper or someone like that. And that should work really well. It's very cheap and it's very simple to do this. This is super cheap, portable, and very low-tech air conditioning. Or it's just a technique that keeps you cool. And you can use this in a lot of different places. I think this is much cheaper than an air conditioner, and it doesn't break down because it's just ice. So not much can go wrong. Thanks for watching, stay cool, and have a great day.